And we're on in 3, 2, 1.
From the Time Spent Poorly podcast studio in the Lewiston-Clarkson Valley in Idaho, you're listening to the Rosewater Kinetics Fitness Hour with weekly discussions on nutrition.
Mainly consist on stuff like sandwiches and tins of tuna, chicken, something like that, cheese grater's from a chain store.
Training.
Just like a bunch of little girls. Again.
Also including phone interviews.
Hello, everyone. I'm from your telephone company.
Poignant conversation. And international liaisons.
Oh my.
And here are your hosts, Mike and Nathan.
Here we be. We are here for another show. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Rosewater Kinetics Fitness Hour on the Time Spent Poorly Podcast Network. I am your host, Nathan. Got Mike over here as usual, and we're going to chit-chat with you today on some things that we'd like to chit-chat with you guys about on a Friday.
Didn't think we were going to make it there for a minute.
I didn't know we were going to either. There's about 8,600 buttons I have to push before this all goes on, and some of them decided that they didn't want to work for me very well, so yeah.
Well, anyways, we're going to get straight to it here because we are up against the clock.
Yeah, we're keeping someone waiting.
We had to fight the electronics, and now that we are on board, we're going to try to bring you, I think we are going to bring you the amazing Mr. Steve, I believe it's pronounced Angel?
I think it's Angel.
We'll have to ask him. I don't want to do a hatchet job on his name.
Yeah.
This guy has... he's a big guy, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, he makes it his business to be fit. I've seen many posts of his where he's big clubs, little clubs, man. Jory, regular stop for Paul Wolonkowski, I believe. I've seen some video with those two working together.
Yeah. Wolkowinski.
Yes. Paul.
Good old Paul.
And we can hardly wait to talk to him and get his take on probably pretty much the same subject matter.
Yeah.
What you do, why you do it.
Sounds good.
Kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and ring him and see if we can get him on here.
Let's give him a ring. I gotta do something I don't normally do and fade out the background music a little bit earlier because it's still running and this needs to be sent off here. Yeah. We're doing via Skype, trying to give him a buzz.
Yeah,
so I always love calling other countries.
Yeah, major time difference here too.
Yeah.
So
it's one. Hello. This is Nathan and Mike from the Rosewater Kinetics Fitness Hour. How are you?
Hello there. How are you? Okay, I'm good. Thanks. Are you?
We're good, thank you.
We're doing great, Steve. I want you to do me a favor before we do a hatchet job on it. Pronounce your last name for me, would you?
Angel.
Okay. See,
so that's what I thought. Yeah.
Names being what they are, we wanted to make sure we got it right. Well, how are you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing good, thank you, mate. I'm doing good.
Fantastic. First let me ask you, the yin yang of physical culture. I see many posts from you on there. Is that your page?
That's yes, Mike. That is my page, mate. Yes.
Okay, fantastic, man, and it's loaded with good information in there. I look it over regularly. Now, to get straight away to the clubs here, that's obviously where our curiosity lies. What got you started? Where did you first learn about these, Steve?
Mike, I've been interested in physical culture for nearly 30 years now. You know, I've as a competitive strength athlete, and it was just something as a next step on my path, if you like, mate. You know, I saw I had to get past all the stuff that's out there in internet land with metal clubs and club bells first, because everyone seemed to be promoting that. But it was just a couple of bits I'd noticed with the wooden clubs. I liked the idea of that. As a competitive strength athlete who's pushed his body way past any natural limits in the last 30 years. You know, I'm always looking for things now to keep me healthy, really, mate. You know, and Indian clubs actually, you know, over the last 3 to 5 years is fit that bill excellently, really. You know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I use them to rehabilitate myself, and I'm right on board with that, and continue to swing. I am getting real heavy into swinging a mace now, or however we want to say it. I find that quite invigorating as well. I'm actually starting to spend more time on that than I do on the clubs, but I think that's probably just because I'm excited about getting into it. Now I've noticed, and I've watched some of your videos, and you spend a lot of time swinging Persian clubs, don't you?
Persian Mills is my club passion, really, Mike. Yeah, I suppose coming from a strength background, the first thing about them is, you know, the size of them. When you look, you know, you see them and you see the massive ones these Iranian guys are swinging, you know, and that's, I suppose, coming from a strength background, that was what really appealed to me, really. And for something when you watch a clip, you know, on YouTube, for something that looks such an easy movement, it's been one of the hardest things to learn and to dedicate myself to for the last 3 years, just to be able to, you know, match what these guys are doing with these things, you know.
Yeah, I don't know about it being all that simple either. I'm trying to learn it myself, and I find that while the club movement looks relatively simple, as you said, there's a lot of body movement incorporated into it as well, and it almost brings it into the realm of the old walking and chewing gum at the same time kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, where you gotta jive all those movements at the precise moment to get it right.
Yep.
It's very, very much so, mate. If you look back, you know, you can look through my YouTube clips, and you can pretty much follow a journey over the last couple of years, 3 years of how basically robotic it all was at the beginning, where, you know, in my mind I'm thinking, wow, yeah, I've got this down. But then you kind of look back now and you think, yeah, wow, you know, you're a million miles off of it. But at the same time, it's nice to look back on these clips and see what kind of journey you've been on, and the movement side of it, and then everything else is just, it's this, for something so simple, it's there's too much to be thinking of at any one time, you know. And I think, you know, the right way for me anyway was to be able to get these things to somewhat drop behind my head and just concentrate on that, and then as things got smoother, add and study. You know, I've studied hours and hours of this stuff on the internet, and I've literally had my laptop on my kitchen table watching these clips, paused it, gone into my back garden, practiced it, gone and looked at the clips again, and, you know, just it's constantly doing that. And the same with the jewelry as well. You know, now I've this year purchased a couple of pairs of jewelry as well, and there's so much to break down on these things. So I think the most important thing to start with is to just have this thing being able to drop down your head rather than over your head, you know.
Yeah, we've got some video of you swinging those jewelry right now. Now those are some big old jewelry. What's the weight on these
dark brown ones that are about 3 feet tall? They look like.
Yeah, the jewelry. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. You know from personal experience, the people I appreciate as much as anyone out there are you guys who are making them. And I'm very lucky in England. I've got Mike Simpson from Sheffield who does an absolutely amazing job of making these jewelry, meals and the Indian clubs, and the ones I've got currently, the smaller ones, are 9.5 kilos. So that's what's that? That's probably around 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And the heavier ones are 14 kilos, so they're knocking on 30 pounds each. The 14 kilo ones.
That's what we're watching you swing right now, is your 14 kilogram ones.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was. Is that the single clip of me just swinging the big ones? Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's 7 minutes long, wearing gray sweatsuit with red shoes, and you're just swinging them, just going on like a happy camper. It looks so. Yeah, you make it look really easy.
That was just a nice tester I put myself through. I was getting the techniques down a little bit, and the one thing with learning how to swing these things initially was to forget I'm a strength athlete and stop trying to beast them and try and be as loose as possible when I'm working on these things. You know, Paul, who you interviewed a couple of weeks ago, I was lucky enough, he came and visited me. I was actually his first stop after his trip to Iran and India. And, you know, the one thing that is you've got to be loose when you're swinging these things, although they're heavy. And that clip there was my sort of, if you like, reintroducing a little bit of strength into the technique. And if it's the one I'm thinking about, I think I did a total of 140 reps with that, 70 each side. So that was a nice little challenge for me one afternoon. Yeah.
My goodness, yeah. Like Nathan says, you make it look easy. So apparently you have been working at this for a while.
Yeah, I cannot. I've attempted to use some of these big ones myself, and I think I ended up hurting myself. So I wasn't quite doing it right.
Yeah, and anybody who's attempted this knows it's not easy.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not easy, and if I suppose if anything, I would suggest to start on the light Persian meals and kind of work your way up onto them. You know,
definitely.
As it happens now, I suppose I'm not promoting myself as an expert on these. I've got miles ahead of my journey still to be doing what these Indian guys are doing, and same with the Persian meals. But I actually find now that the jewelry, I find them easier to send in the meals. Funnily enough, the extra length on the jewelry actually makes, for me, I feel it actually they swing themselves once you get it down, really, you know.
It almost kind of seems like you get into a little bit of a rhythm, and they kind of, if you understand the movement that you're doing, they almost kind of seem to do that for you. It's really interesting you say that. I also noticed that with lighter weights, you kind of get into a rhythm, and they'll just kind of, basically, you provide the right momentum behind them, and they kind of start swinging themselves. It is kind of interesting.
I think so. I wrongly or rightly, you've mentioned the name of my group being Yin and Yang and physical culture. I do categorize the things I do in either a yin, which is a soft kind of sense, or a yang, which is, would be like my, weightlifting and competing and things like that. But I kind of put even the meals and the jewelry into almost my yin therapeutic conditioning training. Swinging 14 kilo mills isn't going to give you a 3 times body weight deadlift in a strongman competition or something, And I studied Tai Chi for a number of years as well, and I find that you can almost get into a meditative state when you're swinging these clubs sometimes, and probably that's what you're kind of seeing a little bit in this clip as well, really,
that seems to be a common theme.
I was just going to say the same thing. Other people have told us,
including myself. And I think when I first started talking with Nathan about this, when he was starting, that's what I told him. Once you get the movements right, you'll know it because it'll feel right to you. And once you get moving in it, you'll go into kind of a meditative state, and you won't even really realize the repetitions you're pulling off, because you're cruising through that state of mind at the time.
It's a very true fact, Mike. But the one thing is, you still have to kind of be in control of these big things, because if one of these slides over your shoulder a bit too quickly and cracks you on the side of the head, you know it.
Yes.
And I've been there a few times as well, mate.
Yeah.
So I know the wake up call you can get at the same time.
I swing. My favorite pair to swing is a 2.5 pound pair that I swing, teardrops shaped ones, and I've hit myself in the head probably 3 times, and I haven't hit myself in the head 4 times because I finally learned on the 3rd time to be more careful what I was doing.
I mean, one of the things I find, especially like the versatility of clubs, be it heavy or light clubs, is how well you can use them and apply them to all kinds of training. So I can be in my garage bench pressing 500 pounds on my plate loaded machine, and in between sets I can walk out and superset that with inner and outer heart shaped swings and things like that. And one of the things that I like to use my clubs is incorporating them in conditioning circuits. And I've been caught out hitting myself on the head a few times with them. I've got my mind maybe on what exercise I'm doing next, or 2 exercises down the road, and all of a sudden you crack and you think, I should be concentrating on this a little bit more, you know.
Yeah, here's my wake-up call for what I'm doing currently.
Yeah, a short story. I was at it was 2 or 3 days ago. I'm swinging the heart shape, you know. And I thought to myself, you're getting awful close to your kneecaps. You don't want to hit yourself. And what did I do?
Right.
The next time around, hit myself right in the kneecap. It's like riding a motorcycle. You know what I mean? If you stare at something,
you're going to hit it.
You'll run it over.
Yep.
Yep. Once you concentrated on hitting yourself with the kneecap, that was bound to happen. So yeah.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
So how did you get into the whole strongman thing to begin with, Steve?
I was never really the most sporty kid at school, but I was, I did all my growing after school. I left school. I was kind of 16 years old. I was only 5'9", and pretty scrawny little kid. In between 16 and 18, I grew into 6'2", and did all my growing a bit later on. But I always had a passion for sport, and I've got a brother who's 9 years older than me who he did all his growing early. At 14 years old, he was 6'4", playing senior club level rugby, and was throwing All England championships as a hammer thrower. And I actually started off my sporting career as a hammer thrower as well. And I've won county, junior, senior, and masters hammer throwing championship.
Wow!
But as a need to get stronger, to get stronger as a hammer thrower, I found a fantastic gym, which I'm to this day very fortunate to have found. And one of the things I found out quite quickly was I had an ability of getting stronger more than being able to throw a hammer very far, And as you may see on some of the posts on my group page, or if you've looked into me, I'm very, very anti-drugs in sport. I've been a dedicated drug-free strength athlete the whole of my life, and a lot of that was by walking into a gym at 17, 18 years old, run by a guy who his name was Brian Clayton, who was one of the four founders of the British Drug-Free Powerlifting Association. and he taught. Although there was the bodybuilders and the guys in the gym using all of this stuff, he took me under his wing, taught me everything I know, and within I think it was under a year and a half, I broke the junior British deadlift record by 40 kilos, 88 pounds.
Wow.
So
crazy.
Yeah, I had a natural ability of being stronger than the potential of being a hammer thrower, as it turned out, really. So yeah, that was that. Obviously, through meeting people in various forms throughout the years, progressed to the point where I travelled during the early 90s right up till when I retired from international competition in 2001. I was travelling to America up to 2 or 3 times a year to compete as well. So I was in your guys' territory.
Oh wow.
Well, I don't think I would be any competition for you, Steve.
nor would I. I do find it interesting that
guys, as far as strength goes, and as far as that goes, I've never had a more appreciative audience than in America. I've got many good friends out there who, supported me and helped me and invited me to competitions and things like that. And they were fantastic times, going out there and competing and representing England internationally is the highest honour you can have as well, really,
Yeah, we got a picture, or not a picture, we got a video rather of you playing in the background just on silent of you and Paul Walkowinski swinging ginormous clubs together at the same time, and it's looking as providing a very great background for this.
Nathan's shaking his head in amazement as he's watching.
I am actually.
I would be too, but I've already watched it through and through. So
yeah,
that was a great day. As I said, I was extremely fortunate. Paul messaged me prior to leaving on his tour, and I was very fortunate. I was his first stop after his trip to India and Iran. And we had a great day swinging, and as you can see, I do all my club swinging in my garden. So I'm swinging out there, whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, or what's going on. But we were very fortunate with the weather that day as well, and we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun out there. Just dragged all my clubs out of the garage, and we just had fun swinging a lot. Really, yeah, it was good. It was a good day.
Paul's a great guy. I've enjoyed every conversation I've ever had with him.
If it wasn't for people like Paul, Mike Simpson in England, you guys making the clubs, Russell Algata from Hawaii, I met him. Again, I always just have a natural affinity when I meet American people. I just seem to get on so well, and we've become very good friends since he came over to Sheffield in 2013, and if it wasn't for you guys making the clubs and Mike Simpson and Paul going through these old manuals and recreating these exercises and putting them on video to learn, I probably wouldn't be doing it. If my guide to club swinging was to open up one of these books from the 1800s, 1900s and see one of these graphs with circles all over it, I'd go, I think I'll go and do some deadlifts.
Yeah, pass. Yeah, exactly. Well, coincidentally, when I was trying to learn how to do my club swinging, all I had was the internet to learn what I was supposed to be doing, and I accidentally stumbled across several of probably 2 or 3 of your videos, and I was like, well, this looks like a dude. I didn't know we were going to meet someday via the internet, but I just happened to catch your videos and studied your movements to kind of teach myself how to do what I was supposed to be doing with these clubs. So you actually did, between you and Paul Imada and Paul Walkowinski, you guys have all kind of taught me how to club swing without even ever having met me.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That makes things like that make it worthwhile. It's it's the whole idea of, I'm the same. I learned most of this stuff through watching clips, and giving a bit back as well. It's the same as like my group, like my group page on Facebook. There's not many people on it, but I give my experience of what I do, and when people come back with comments like that, then that's what makes it all worthwhile of me trying to give a little back to it as well. So I appreciate that, Nathan. That's great, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I keep a pretty good eye on you too, Steve, and I think you'd be surprised. There's probably a lot of other ones out there too, but what do they call them? The silent majority or something to that effect.
That's exactly what it is.
You never hear from them, but they're watching.
Yep.
No, that's great. That's it. To be honest, it makes it worthwhile for me to be doing it there, and I don't do any of this to buff myself or promote myself or anything. I'm not earning a living out of any of this, and I've trained on my own for over 15 years. I have probably one of the best equipped garage gyms around, and my philosophies on training differ massively compared to what a lot of the modern functional guys want to be telling you to be doing out there, and I just give this little bit of information out there to say that this guy who's trained in a 9 by 19 foot garage, who's actually won world championships training out of this place, is you don't need to listen to some of these self-proclaimed gurus who are just trying to sell you systems and everything. All you need to do is find your own path, find what's right for you, and be prepared for a lifetime of constant learning.
Yeah, especially that you never stop learning, and it's like I tell people as well, Steve, that they're saying, well, what should I work on? Should I do this or should I do that? I say, just get started, and it will become obvious what it is you need to work on.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It will present itself.
I think that's a great idea. I don't think there's any. Well, I know there is no one system or one way of doing all of this. You have the biggest demon in the whole functional world, in the whole world, is training on machines and things like that, and I know most of it is based around these massive big steroid using bodybuilders who are just doing doing nothing for the sport of physical culture out there, but I train on my own. I've trained on my own for 15 years. I still like to lift heavy weights. So the safest way for me was to invest in a plate-loaded machine. So I do 90% of my pressing on a machine. Be it bench pressing or shoulder pressing, and you have these guys who boo-hoo all of this. Don't train on machines, train on kettlebells, or train on this, or train on that. Train on all of it. Become strong, become flexible, become functional, become mobile. Be all of it. Don't just be one of it. The kettlebell guys out there. A bunch of those are saying don't train on machines, don't do this, don't do that. You can see a clip on my YouTube channel of me doing seated shoulder presses with 170 kilos. So you're talking about 380 pounds, maybe. There's a quick conversion in my head.
Dang.
And then as an answer to these functional guys who don't train on this, you can only do this, only do that. I've clean and pressed the kettlebell world's so-called beast, which is a 48 kilo kettlebell, 120 consecutive reps, cleaning every rep. So I think the functional side of it's there as well.
I actually was just over at a good friend's house just yesterday, and he has one of those gym home gym things, and it looks like it was one of those things where it assists you in doing squats and all kinds of crazy things, and it looked like it was probably at least a $1,500 unit. And he was showing it to me because he was like, "Do you want this? I know you're doing a lot of workout, and I've come to the realization that I just cannot convince myself to work out. I have to go to the gym." What do you say to the guys, since you are a literal world champion that trains right out of your garage? What do you say to guys that say things like that to you or whatever? Like, well, I would totally do it myself at home, but I have to be at the gym to accomplish something.
Listen, it comes down to self-motivation. It comes down to wanting something bad enough. You know, the one thing you hear, you see, you know, these so-called fitness guys and the gurus who, I'm boundless energy. Do this and you'll be bouncing off of the walls. I've been in this game, 30 years now, and you could probably count the days where I felt like I could bounce off of the walls on one hand. So,
right.
You know, it then comes down to do you want it or don't you want it? So the days you're tired or on the days you can find any excuse not to do it, they're the days I'm still out there doing it. And I think that's the biggest difference between what makes you a champion and what makes you find any excuse not to do it. If I waited, especially now, I've got a 3-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. I work long hours to support my family. I've got every excuse in the world now to knock all this on the head and pack it in, but it's my life, and if anything, I need to be even more healthy now, so that I can be there to support my family for the rest of my life. So it's a case of finding an excuse to do it rather than an excuse not to do it, you know. And again, that's where having multiple systems in place is a good thing, because sometimes you don't want to be doing 1,000 reps with a kettlebell swing if you're tired, or you don't want to be pulling 700-pound deadlifts, but you can still get a good workout in by, loading the machine up and get some pressing in and get the blood circulating and the body moving, and then one thing moves on to another. You've had an hour's good workout. But if you're limiting yourself to these, functional only workouts, and you're limiting yourself to what you think is good and what's bad, sometimes you've got more ammunition of not doing something. Something might ache that night, and something, you're tired or whatever, and if you've got all of these systems in place, you can analyze your body daily, which is kind of my philosophy now, with the yin and yang side of things and the physical culture side of things. You try and analyze your body daily and give it what it wants. If that means hitting a really good strength workout, that's great. But if that then means a night of maybe doing sun salutations and yoga and some qigong and swinging light clubs and stuff like that, you've still got up out of the chair, and you've gone out and moved your body, and that's the most important thing, really.
Right, raising that blood pressure and raising, just basically getting blood flowing, and you're not just sitting around doing nothing, which I find majority of my good friends just kind of like, well, I got to get back to such and so, and then they continue to sit and they continue to rot away. It's unfortunate.
One of the best motivations I heard came from Rick Brown.
Oh yeah.
When he was on the show, and I had asked him, what motivates you, and he said just being healthy. And Nathan says, well, what would you say to someone of my generation? And he says, could you carry your wife out of a burning house? If someone approaches you and wants to steal your wallet, can you handle yourself?
Yeah.
These are the questions you have to answer, and these are real questions.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly.
And I thought that was a amazingly poignant.
Yeah, simply profound, I think, is a good way of looking at it. Yeah, it was very...
Can you carry your wife out of a burning house?
Yeah, I
And
could
some
say,
of the wives I've seen, that's a pretty tall order.
Yes.
So.
I could say unequivocally I could do that right now, but since I hurt myself, I would probably have to throw her over my right shoulder instead of left.
Yeah, make sure you marry a skinny wife.
Yeah, exactly. Honey, I'm gonna have to trade you in. I'm sorry. This guy on the internet said I have to have a skinny one. It's nothing personal.
So Steve, I'm looking through the Facebook the other day, and I saw an article in there, and I believe it was by you who had you had mentioned you had stepped out of a crowd to compete in like a stone toss or something to that effect.
I did, yeah. Yes, yeah. I mean, that was a Highland Games stroke strongman competition. Wow, that would have been around 2000 maybe, and yeah, we went to watch it, and I've done that a few times. I've gone and watched competitions, walked out of the crowd, and beaten them at certain events. I'm definitely not saying that I could turn up at World's Strongest Man and beat these guys. The difference in what these guys are doing compared to me, is astronomical. But I come from a hammer throwing background. In the throwing background, I've done Highland Games competitions and stuff like that, and so got a bit more of an idea of how to do some of these things technically rather than with just brute strength. And yeah, I walked out of the crowd and beat some of the guys who went on to compete in World's Strongest Man. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing stuff when you can walk out of the crowd and compete.
Hey, I can do that. Yeah,
I find that very admirable.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so world champion. So, what does a world champion eat? What kind of things do you eat on a regular basis, Steve?
I work on the idea of when it comes to nutrition, keep it simple, stupid. Just I don't really do supplements. No supplement company is ever going to kind of get rich off of me with their pre-workout this, post-workout this, take this, take that. A pre-workout, the best of pre-work supplement for me would probably be a cup of coffee, and a post-workout supplement for me would probably be a glass of organic full-fat milk afterwards, and that goes to the same with my diet. It's all things in moderation. If man made it, i.e. processed food, either limit it or eliminate it from your diet. Try and keep everything as natural as possible, and enjoy a pint of Guinness every now and again.
Yes. I like a good pint of cider every once in a while. My favorite's Blackthorn, actually.
Or as I like to say, a pint or two.
Yeah, pint or four.
Absolutely. Well, one of the pictures you might have seen on my group pages, part of my finger grip strength training is squashing beer caps between my fingers. So the more you drink, the more training you can get in.
That's right.
Training.
You got to work that off.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you got to have a reason to be doing all this work. You can't just do it for nothing.
Yeah.
I think life's about enjoying all things in moderation, and one of the things I like to sort of say to people is, there's a fine line between something healing you and killing you. You have a headache, you can take a couple of painkillers, and in an hour you're going to feel better. You take a whole pack, you'll be dead. And I think that's the same with exercise philosophies, with food intakes, with alcohol consumptions, and with everything really. The fine line there is it can either heal you or kill you, and it comes down to the dosage. And that's again why I like to have a lot of systems in my training. Even if I was to do yoga every single day, eventually that would become detrimental to my body. You know, my body's used to being strong and stiff, and you can open ligaments, and you can open things up too much, you know, and that's why I like to keep things as balanced as possible, and that's nutrition wise as well as exercise wise, you know. So that's kind of, as I'm getting older anyway, that's one of my philosophies in life is finding the balance of what's doing you good and what isn't doing you good, you know.
I think that's very good advice.
I think it's astute too,
and there's
yeah.
a certain thing to be said for just plain old being happy.
Yeah, and enjoying yourself.
What's the sense if you're miserable?
Well, and that's one of the things one of the reasons I'm so fascinated with nutrition is because my wife gets on Pinterest and gets on Facebook and follows all these different people that say, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And she starts following one person's particular regimen, and she's 3-4 weeks into it. And I'm like, so how you doing? She's like, I'm miserable. I'm like, well, it looks like you picked a really bad way to go then, because life is about trying to find the ways of continuing and maintaining your health, making healthy choices, and enjoying yourself, not one or the other. It's not all healthy all the time and no enjoyment, or all enjoyment with no health. You got to find that that tipping of the scales that kind of evens itself out. And for whatever reason, she's always doing these different fad things, and they always seem to kind of put her into bad moods.
I know people that diet so well they can knock out a 30-day diet in the first day.
They're so good at it they can do it all in one day.
That's right.
That's impressive.
Problem with that is the following day they're looking at the next guru system, and before you know it, they're so confused about everything. They're probably sitting on the couch eating potato chips because there's so much information out there. It's so confusing for people nowadays. Do I do this high protein, low carb diet? Do I do this? You know, do I become a vegetarian, or do I do this? You know, but everything in moderation, and you've won the battle. You know, it's everything's designed to be too complicated nowadays. Be it a super fantastic training system, or this fantastic diet. But the one thing you've got to look at all of this is someone trying to sell you something off of the back of it, basically. And if they are, they're probably trying to make money out of you rather than give you the right advice. Absolutely. And I think that's the one thing. Hopefully, when people see my page, I'm not proclaiming myself to be anything really. I'm just a guy who trains on his own, enjoys what I do, and tries to show people that if I can do it, anybody can do it. And at the same time, you don't need to be taking drugs. You don't need to be spending thousands of pounds or dollars on supplements every week or month or anything. You can eat healthily. You can train and do this, and you can enjoy yourself at the same time, and still on a Saturday night enjoy a pint of Guinness or something like that, and as long as it doesn't turn into 10 of them or something, and again it just comes back to the quantities, what can either heal you or kill you,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and back to the so much information now. Unfortunately, in our information age, just because there is oodles and oodles of information at your fingertips doesn't necessarily, no one guaranteed that the information age was going to be full of useful information. They
It
just
doesn't
said
mean factual information.
Right, they just said that there was going to be information. So that's one thing that I always keep on trying to tell my wife. Well, where did you find this? Did you find this on Facebook? Did you find this on Pinterest? Did you look into it? Was there any scientific research behind it? Or is this just someone's opinion? And one of the things that's so unfortunate is there's so many people's quote-unquote systems that are supposed to be like these breakthroughs, quote-unquote breakthroughs, and it just turns out, if you really boil them down, it's just someone's stupid opinion. And unfortunately, so many people just follow it hook, line, and sinker, and then people like us that are trying to promote good, real, actual, factual information and tell you this is what we think we know. If we've misspoke ever, we'll come back and tell you, hey, that was wrong. But most people are just like, hey, this is my opinion on it, and this is what you should be doing. And blanket statement put out there, and nothing to back it up.
Well, I'll share an opinion with you right now. That's my opinion, and you tell me if you agree with it or not. As far as dieting and working out and becoming healthy, I think if you're going to work out for what you want to do. If you want to be a guy who climbs mountains, work out to climb mountains.
Right.
If you want to be a backpacker, work out to backpack. Work out to make what you enjoy in life more
easier.
enjoyable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Secondly, if you want to lose weight, if you want to become more fit, if you want to change your life, change your life. Don't change the next 30 days and expect your life to change because of that 30 days.
Right.
You have to change your life.
Your entire lifestyle, yeah.
When the diet's over, what now?
Yeah.
You have to change what you're doing.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. It has to be something that you're prepared to do
forever,
for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, forever. Nothing. No short-term, super duper. Whatever's in the latest glossy magazine that some celebrity's doing as a quick fix. Nothing. If you're doing that, it isn't going to work. You have to make these changes, and again, you need real life people out there to tell everyone that this is the truth. This isn't what someone's trying to get you to buy. It's like gain endless energy with this, or do this system and gain endless energy. There's these people. These people aren't. If they are like that, fantastic. But it comes down to wanting to do something enough that even if you're tired or even or this and that, you still have the desire to go and do it. And we need more honesty out there of you might be tired, you might want to eat that cream cake, or you might want to do it, but just have a little bit of self-control. Just have go and get it done, because you're going to feel a lot better at the end of it.
Yeah, and I would also suggest that mental conditioning and emotional conditioning is every bit as important, because you say, well, Mike, I don't know of anything that I enjoy so much that I would want to work at all the time. Well, then maybe you need to explore what you're doing in this life, in this world, because apparently you haven't found a passion for something.
Right. Yeah.
That's going to provide enjoyment and make this life worth living for you. Your issue lies somewhere else right now you move to this.
You found a passion for planting your ass onto a couch and putting things into your mouth, regardless of what those things are.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that's
Absolutely.
not a constructive thing.
Not so much.
Yeah.
The world's designed to be convenient for people. Well, like the modern Western world is anyway. Where you can pull up outside a bank in your car and do your banking while you're sitting in the car. You can pull outside and buy a coffee without getting out of your car and things like that. And everything needs to take a bit of a step back, really, and start actually creating an environment of health rather than convenience.
Yeah. In fact, we've become so lazy that we've even made our living room so we don't have to get off the couch to change the channel, to load a movie. We're lazy to be lazy.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. It's so bad that
we won't go get a pizza. We'll call them and have them bring it to us.
Well, it's like one of your convenience items, your phone. It's dying. Your charger's in the other room. What do? You put the thing onto airplane mode and set it down so that it doesn't die. But then you don't have to get up and go charge it.
Where did all of that come from? Was it introduced so slowly we didn't notice?
I think so. I really think so.
I think
it all started with the remote control back in the whenever that came out, then
I remember,
80s or whatever. 60s.
Yeah, I think it was in the 70s.
60s, 70s.
My parents got and it was a clicker.
Yeah, and it literally made a.
Yeah. But to me, it was the coolest thing because you didn't have to get up and go change the channel.
Sure.
But I had No idea who's leading us there. Down that road. Okay, Steve. Well, we're getting up towards the end here, and we're going to close out. And I want to take a moment to thank you for coming on and spending the time with us here and talking about this. I hope you'll come back on again sometime soon.
Any time, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for thinking me worthy of spending some time chatting to you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Who knows? Maybe one of these days we'll be able to sit across from the table and enjoy one of them Guinnesses with you.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I'd love to swing some of the amazing clubs you're making. So you never know. That hopefully one day.
Go ahead and give yourself some plugs if you have anything you want to promote real quick. You got a website or anything you want to throw out there, Twitter, anything like that?
I don't have any of that, mate. I'm just like I say, I just do my training on my own. I've got my little Facebook group page, Yin and Yang Physical Culture. So if anyone wants to get involved and see what I do and get involved in the discussions, fantastic. But that's about it, really, mate.
Perfect.
So thanks for that.
Yeah. We'll throw a link to that up on our Facebook page as well, and try to get a little bit of cross pollination going on for you there. And thank you very much, Steve, for tuning in with us. And we'll chat it again soon.
Thank you, chaps. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Look forward to speaking to you again.
Have a great. I guess it's evening where you are.
Yes. Have a good evening and go enjoy a Guinness for us.
Nice one. Take care. See you soon, guys.
Great.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Steve.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
That was Steve Angel
The
from
amazing Steve Angel.
from England.
From England.
That was fun. That was a good little exercise in talking about what it takes to become a strong man.
And I'll suggest that if you are trying to get some of these club methods down, that you go to YouTube, or Yin Yang of Physical Culture, and like that page on Facebook, and watch this gentleman, because this guy is serious about this stuff.
Yes, he is.
I mean, you can see some of the clubs. You just don't just pick that up on a Wednesday and have it, ready for film on Saturday.
No, that's not an accident. That's a lot of deliberate purchases. That's a lot of deliberately searching people out to get that kind of a collection. He probably had easily 20 sets.
I'll bet you could spend a week with that guy and talk the whole week and still not get the whole story all covered.
Yeah.
And I have. I mean, and I look at some of his stuff almost daily and try to mimic it. Especially, as we were talking earlier about the Persian clubs. That's difficult, man.
It is very,
That's difficult. I'm still working at
I've
that.
not gotten it right yet. I was doing it. I thought you were supposed to bring it up over your head, so I think that might have been where my injury came from. I don't know why I thought you had to do that. I honestly don't. But yeah,
no, I'm just trying to get the body. I'm getting it, but it's elusive.
Yeah,
it's elusive.
It's
It's
tough.
one other thing you got to keep. And then when you finally do get it right, you want to celebrate.
Right. Well, it's literally the same thing of finally getting the heart shape down, because the first time you try that, you're like,
your first major move is
this is ridiculous. I can't figure this out.
Yeah,
but
your first major move, and then once you get it,
you're like, woohoo, yeah!
This can be done.
And you do a little tap dance.
Then you want to start on something new, And before too long, you had a whole regiment figured.
Yeah, I've been approved on Facebook to join the Yin and Yang Physical Culture. I just got a little notification.
There's nothing better than being approved.
That's right. It's a closed group, so if you click on it, you won't automatically be able to see it until Steve gets a chance to click on it. But I think that's honestly, in this day and age of everybody just throwing out opinions and throwing crap out there, I think it's a wise decision to make it closed. On something like that.
And he's a wise guy. I've been listening to some of the things that he was saying, and even some of his philosophies are very well thought through.
Yeah.
He
looks younger. Like, if you see pictures of him, and when if you go back a little bit earlier and watch the videos we were watching of him, he looks easily 2 or 3 years younger than me. But if he's been working out and bodybuilding for over 30 years, he's got to be at least 10 years older than me.
See, I think that's a formula of being doing what you want, being happy, being mentally content, peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not worrying and stressing and blah, blah, all that stuff. I think it shows on a person.
I think it does too. Yep.
You know, like me.
Yeah, look at you.
27, 28 years old.
Oh, yeah. 29 tops.
Tops.
29 and counting. So thank you for joining me on this adventure today, Mike.
Not a problem, man.
And thanks for making the connection. That was Mike's find for the day. The interview was Mike's idea. So actually, all these interviews are Mike's idea. I just show up and turn on the microphone.
One of these days, I'm going to interview you.
Yay! You never know. I don't know if there's anything to interview about me. I've told my life story about 1,800 times on this podcast network. But hey, somebody might not have heard it yet, and you never.
But yeah, things are still moving forward, folks. We're, at RK, we're kind of in a hard to get a hold of type of thing. I mean, we're still working and things are happening, but we're in
a transitional phase, I think, is what.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's what I was struggling to come up with. Yes,
I believe that would be a good way to describe it.
It's a transitional. There's a transition going on, and it's one of those things where you're torn in 5 different directions all at once, and each direction demands your attention now.
Yeah, every single one of them is most important. You're like, which one's most important?
And because you try to take care of all of them at once, none of them get the attention that they deserve.
Yes.
And the result is things move slowly.
Also, I think that's just called being a small business owner. I think that's just the curse of being a small potato.
But no, we're going to start posting some more stuff. I mean, I'm saying that because we haven't had a whole lot flashing up there lately.
Yeah,
they're coming out, folks. They're coming out, and
we're keeping up with orders basically at the moment.
We are trying to make this other stuff happen because we want to be able to bring you. We're working on big things, but I mean, it takes a while.
Yeah, and it'd be premature to.
It would be premature to go blasting it out now, other than just to alert you that with you in mind, your pocketbook in mind, availability in mind, quality in mind, all of these things all balled up into one big old headache for me. We're trying to make this all work for you.
Yes.
And when we start encroaching on that date, we will joyfully.
You'll hear about what we've been up to. Yeah.
You'll be able to come take a look, and then you're probably going to go, oh,
yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So we're aiming for first of the year-ish, January, February, March, April, maybe May, whatever. We're aiming for it.
It's warmer
soon.
in June.
That's right. We're aiming for it, though. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew.
All seriousness, we're hoping for launch around the first of the year.
Yeah.
That's what we are pointing and working for. Is that going to occur? I sure hope so.
You'd probably sleep better at night, won't
I
you?
want to put it to bed. That's right. But hopefully it'll work like a well-greased machine.
I think so. And if not, at least like a extreme, maybe I better save that analogy for another time.
Maybe the next show.
Maybe. Yeah.
Anyways, once again, man, we want to thank Steve for coming on and sharing his thoughts.
Thank you, Steve.
Thoughts and techniques and suggestions with us. That's always...
And life philosophies. I always love bumping into people that have a similar outlook on me that's on a completely different continent.
Yeah,
that's always that kind of stuff fascinates me because
it's a human thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
not a regional thing.
It's a human.
Yeah.
There's constants everywhere you go. Everybody loves their children. Everybody wants to have a mate in life. You know, a warm place to stay. There's constants.
Yeah, and then people seem to have similar philosophies on like how life should be led and what you should be doing with your life to make it the best and fullest that you can. And yeah, definitely not a regional thing. That's just a.
And I think a pint of Guinness fits right in there.
I think so. Speaking of, you want to go grab a beer?
Yeah,
we should do that. All right, let's get out of here then. That being said, I guess we don't really have anything else to do but get out of here. So I'm
do
gonna.
They have organic beer?
No, but I know they have gluten-free beer because my favorite beer is gluten-free.
There's a market.
Yeah. Angry Orchard. Angry Orchard is naturally gluten-free because it's just made out of apples. So.
Are they organic apples?
Hell if I know. They're good.
They like GMO, dude.
I don't know. We'll have to look into it though.
Yeah.
I bet you we could find out the answer to if there's organic beer or not though. Just not right now because, well, we're going to be done here in 35 seconds.
Let's go taste them.
Let's go find some. Yes. Thank you guys. My name is Nathan. I'm at Nathan L. Betts on the Twitter. He's at RK Clubs on the Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Find us on YouTube. Find us on iTunes. Find us on Stitcher. We are everywhere. If you don't find us, it's because you haven't opened a Facebook page or a computer and found us. Like us on Facebook. There's Rosewater Kinetics you can like. There's Time Spent Poorly you can like. There's other shows that go on this network that kind of have fallen on the wayside a little bit, but I'm trying my best to get them all rebooted and started again. So.
And if you want, just get a hold of me on Facebook. I'll give you his personal phone number.
Oh yeah, that'd be really great. I'd really appreciate that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'll punch you in the throat. So from now until the next time I talk to you guys, I'm out the door.
And 4 out of 5 voices in my head say, go for it.
Yeah, let's do this.